Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of Sustainable Travel News with Suze. And if you're new here, hey, I'm Suze. I have a master's in biodiversity and study the intersection of tourism and the natural environment with more than 15 years in the industry. My goal is to help you become a more informed and aware traveler with environmental education and sustainable travel guides and tips so you can make choices that are good for you and leave the places a little better than when you arrived. If that sounds like your thing, like, subscribe, and let's get into the latest news. So big news coming out of the west coast of North America. And if you're heading to Tofino, Canada's surf capital and best oceanside getaway, in my opinion, your packing list just got a mandatory upgrade. So as of this Earth Day, Tofino has officially become Canada's first municipality to ban the sale of small, single-use plastic water bottles. This wasn't just a rash decision. So since 2015, Surfrider volunteers have recovered over 60,000 plastic water bottles from Tofino waterways. Plastic pollution has serious environmental and health impacts, often breaking down into microplastics and entering our entire food web. While seabirds and marine mammals ingest plastic at alarming rates with often deadly impacts. Did you know that in the 1960s, less than 5% of deceased seabirds were found with plastic in their stomach? Today, that number has increased to 80%. And researchers predict that by 2050, 99% of all seabirds will be found with plastic in their stomachs. So what does this mean for your next getaway? Pack your reusable water bottle because I know you all have one at this point. But this ban specifically targets small single-use plastic water bottles that are 1 liter or less. As the mayor of Tofino, Dan Law, put it, it's a meaningful shift in how business operates to honor Tofino's shared environmental values and respect First Nations stewardship. It's a shift from a grab-and-go culture of convenience to one of refill and reuse. To stay hydrated as you explore Tofino, look for newly installed water refill stations throughout the district and businesses that have stickers or decals on their windows saying free water refills here, meaning that you can go in, no strings attached, and refill your water bottle for free. And you're in luck because Tofino's tap water is sourced from rain-fed creeks in old-growth forests that are protected by the Cla'ukwiat First Nation. This is just another step on Tofino's journey as a leading community for regenerative tourism in action. Tofino has Indigenous-led tourism, an Indigenous stewardship fund that is supported by tourism, a 1% tourist fee that helped build and fund a new wastewater treatment facility that prevents hotels from dumping raw sewage into the ocean around Tofino, and they maintain one of Canada's leaders for single-use plastic bans. As a community of less than 3,000 full-time residents, Tofino welcomes more than 600,000 tourists every year, but they're ensuring that tourism is part of the solutions to some of the problems that it can exacerbate. As with any big change, this makes some people uncomfortable, or they're unsure if this is going to have the intended impact, or they're worried what they're going to do in an emergency. But Tofino has built in some safeguards to address moments of emergency. You can always buy a bottle of water that's bigger than a liter if you need it, or buy a reusable bottle. But ideally, we're bringing our own, so we're not buying more stuff. But single-use bans have been shown to reduce plastic pollution in the isolated environment where they exist and shift consumer mindset toward more circular systems. Of course, it always works best if it were to be coupled with stronger plastic policies at a Canadian federal level and global plastic treaties. But in my opinion, all it takes is one brave community at a time adopting a change until we reach a global shift. And in no way, shape, or form is this a sponsored thing or an affiliate. I'm definitely not making money on this. Probably losing money on it, the amount of time that I put into this. But I just want to show you what I use. Everybody is going to be different, so find what you love or use what you have is what I always say. But I always travel with this SIG water bottle. It is like kind of lightweight, compact, easy to just stuff in my camera bag. It has been around the world and back with me. It is very old. It is very dented. It works. And in places where the water quality is not great, I use my Grail water bottle. This is great because it filters out bacteria, viruses, heavy metals, and other contaminants. It is a little bulky and awkward, and it doesn't fit a lot of water in it. So the amount of water that I drink, I am filling this up so many times in a day, especially if I'm out in the heat. So there are some limitations. But with this combination, I have not gone into and bought a small plastic bottle in years, maybe even a decade. I genuinely cannot remember the last time that I bought a small plastic bottle. I also avoid like sodas and teas and stuff like that. If they're in plastic, I always look for aluminum or glass if I can, or I go without. An alternative is to buy, if I'm at a place where I need a lot of water, I'll buy like the biggest 5-gallon bottle that I can and keep that in my hotel or accommodation and refill my bottle up from there. You can also boil water in your hotel room. Lots of options to avoid plastic. So, just to wrap things up and recap with some actionable tips, this policy works in Tofino because they have potable water, a community committed to change, and positive relationships with businesses, Indigenous tribal members, and the tourism board. But it's people like us, the ones who remember are reusable, that can make these policies work, stick, and even spread to other communities. But in places without potable water or weak plastic policies, remember, staying hydrated and safe is always the most important part. Don't beat yourself up for systems working against you. Just do what you can within your ability, like these suggestions here. But ideally, forgetting our reusable bottle is not the reason that we have to go buy a small single-use plastic water bottle. So what do you think of the single-use plastic ban of small water bottles in Tofino? Is bringing your reusable water bottle just something that's out of habit for you now? Is it something you're still working on? Should other communities follow? Let me know what you think in the comments.